Tom Mordue here for LowKickMMA. I'm here today with Shaj Haque, the new Cage Warriors Flyweight champion. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's been a pretty good week.
I imagine. So, coming off an incredible win, do you think that is the biggest win of your career, would you say?
I think it's one of the best wins. I think it's the cleanest knockout I've had.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest platform I think I've fought on. So in that sense, yes. But in terms of the opponent, I do believe I've fought tougher guys, or guys just as good as Sam.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously an incredible win. Do you think a UFC call-up is deserved now? That incredible third round one-punch knockout.
That's it. Yeah, 100%. I don't know what else I can do. I think that's the best finish I could do. It was one punch clean KO. I've fought all the other guys. I think I've proved myself. It's not a matter of like have I proven myself? No, I've fought the former Cage Warriors champ as well. I've basically beat all the top guys. 5 years ago I pretty much did it, and I've done it again now. And I feel like my only reasonable step forward is the UFC. Like the only guys that have beat me and the only way I can kind of catch up is to fight in the UFC now. I don't think I've got much left to prove outside the UFC.
Yeah, I think I would definitely agree with that. Say you do get called up to the UFC, London card in March. Is that something you're targeting? Would that be the dream?
Yeah, that's it. So I've had a busy time there. I've had 5 fights in I think it was 14 or 15 months. So you can imagine how busy I've been. It's exhausting mentally and physically. I was hoping to look to take maybe a little bit of a break now that I've had the fifth fight and I've just got the belt. But if the UFC offer me in March, I think that's the only thing that would really motivate me to do it again and go through all that straight away again, because I'll be right back in camp. But other than that, I think I'd like to take a little bit of time off, not a lot of time, just a couple of months, and then get back into it.
Yeah. So going back to the fight, you threw a lot of feints during the fight. Well, I was watching it back and you're just constantly fainting. Do you think that's kind of what made the overhand rise so unexpected?
Yeah, I think it's something I do a lot. I do feint a lot. It's a style that I use if you watch a lot of my fights. I think it definitely did. I started noticing I also started noticing him slowing down a little bit. And I thought, I got to give it him. I feel like he paced himself better than I thought he would. I thought he would slow down by the end of the second round. But then I came to the third round. I was like, he's still got some power in his hands. He's still got speed there. So I think it was the midpoint of that round. I started feeling actually he is slowing down a little bit now. And then he clipped me, and I was like, man. And then he kind of clipped me a little bit. It wasn't like I wasn't rocked or stumbled. I kind of like took the shot, and I kind of just lost my footing. And then I got straight back up. But as I got back up, I was like, oh, this fight, I knew the fight was quite close on the cards. I felt like I was winning, but I thought that knockdown the first round and that on the third round could probably edge it to him unless I do something more significant. Hence, I started putting some pressure on him, if you look at it. I started making things happen. And then I kind of like with my feints, I feel like I was like overloading his brain with like information. He's not sure if I'm going to shoot on him. He's not sure if I'm going to throw a punch or a kick. And then I seen the opening and I took it.
Yeah. Did you go into the fight expecting a knockout, or kind of what was your plan going into the fight?
No, I think I'd never go in to say, okay, I'm going to knock him out. I think that'd be a bit naive. I think I did believe that I could knock him out. I thought it'd be more maybe like a TKO. Maybe I'd wear him down and then like maybe like on the ground and be like a TKO or something. I kind of seen that potentially happening because I did feel like I didn't think he could keep up like my pace for 5 rounds. But then when I seen that opening on that fight, and I realised that he is susceptible. I studied him. My coach has studied him, and I noticed he is susceptible to right hands. I've watched it a few times in his fights. Hence I did train for that punch. It's not like it was a fluke punch. I did throw it once or twice earlier in the fight. I landed it once, but not as clean. And then I missed it once or twice. And then I started noticing, like, just getting my positioning. The feints were working. And if you look at it closely, you see I do like a feint jab to the right hand. And that kind of triggered him to try to step in at the same time. And then my right hand beat his left hand and knocked him out.
Yeah, so you're also the first ever Bangladeshi MMA champion. Is that something you're incredibly proud of?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not one of those guys that believe that you're better or worse from wherever you come from. I do believe, I strongly believe everybody's pretty equal in that way. The only thing is that I understand that, people like that are born in Bangladesh and have a similar background to me, and they can relate to you better. It's just like that with anything. Anyone that's similar to you, you can always relate to them. So I just hope that I can inspire those guys, because I do think a lot of people that come from Bangladesh, they don't have that. They have a lot of talent, but I feel like they don't quite believe in themselves. Hence, you don't see that many higher level athletes. Also in Bangladesh, I understand that the opportunities are not as good for those guys. And I am pretty blessed to be able to get the opportunities that I get and train in the UK with some of the best guys in the world. But I do believe that if the other more Bangladeshi athletes do the same, and just try harder, they can definitely be successful in the sport. So I hope that inspires a few of those. I also want to inspire like the local community. I'm from South Shields, we're a small town, but there's a lot of talent here, and I hope that they see if I can do it from South Shields, they believe that they can do it too. I have a lot of young lads. I'm a coach, and I'm coaching a lot of the youth, so I like to kind of be the example. I really believe that if I can be the example and show them that I can do it, they'll believe that they can do it too.
Yeah, so you mentioned you're a coach. Like, how do you balance being a coach and being a fighter at the same time? Is that tough?
Yeah, I'd say it was very tough early on when I first started doing it. But I think over time, I've got a really good group of guys. Like you'll see, like there's Aaron, Shawan, Sammy, Marcus, and a few others. They're all like really good guys, and they also help me. We've got a really good thing going in the gym. We've got like a way of teaching is that we help each other out. So my aim is to get them as good as they can be. They also which in return helps me perform better because I spar with them now. And these guys, they were just kids first, but now they're like the men, and they give me some of the hardest rounds I get. So these guys are like pushing me, and they see me go through it. So then when I'm teaching them, we're really good like kind of balance in the gym. And I think I find like I struggled with the balance early on when I started coaching. But then I feel like I've kind of like worked something out, and we've got like a really good thing going at the gym. Like whenever I'm in fight camp, I can rely on these guys to help me cover my classes whenever I need them to. And I do the same for them. Obviously, when they're getting ready for fights, they teach as well, some of them. And we have just a really good thing going in the gym. I think I feel like I'm developing as a coach as well as a fighter at the same time. I feel like I'm still improving as a fighter, and you can see in my coaching our guys are getting better and better, and they're performing now at the top end of the country.
Yeah. Going back to the UFC flyweight division, how do you think you compare to some of the fighters there?
I really believe I definitely believe I can definitely be in the top 15. And I do believe I can be a champ. I think I just need that opportunity to kind of go to fight there. Realistically, I look at the top 15. I think there's nothing spectacular that I see that I think, whoa. I really like guys like Haque or France and things, and I look at them and I think I feel like I'm definitely on par with those guys. I believe my style's like pretty unorthodox. I think it's different than any of the guys that are in the UFC. And I do believe that my style is a style that a lot of these guys don't have training partners that can replicate, and I think that'd be a problem for most of them in that way.
Yeah, so obviously your last loss was in 2020 to Jake Hadley. He's now in the UFC. If you did get the call up, do you think a rematch would be something you would want?
I would do it in a heartbeat. Like I literally, he's a good fighter. I'm not going to take any credit away from him. His grappling's pretty good. Funny enough, he actually knocked me out, which is strange. But even then, that camp, I mean, on the day he was a better fighter. I'm not going to take that away. But that was a tough camp. It was in lockdown. I was initially meant to fight him actually before before COVID came in, and then when I was feeling really good, and because I knew I was expecting my child. It was actually going to be just about my first. I was going to be a father for the first time within I think it was like 2 weeks before the fight. So I did my whole camp, and I knew the last 2 weeks would be a little bit tough. But I would have had my camp. I had my camp done. Then obviously COVID came in. I had the little one, and then we had this obviously long break in the lockdowns. And then what happened? And I'm still trying to adapt to being a father here. Just trying to learn how not to sleep. All these things new to me. So when it came into the camp, I still took the fight. Again, maybe you shouldn't have, but I feel I don't regret it. I think it made me who I am today. But that camp was very hard, especially with all the laws and the rules where you weren't allowed to train. You were allowed to train. You was only allowed to train with certain people and things, and just trying to fit in the training with everybody. trying to get around and get what I'd say the best quality training. I was really struggling with that. I'm sure he had some trouble as well too, but I don't know if he had as many problems as I did in that one. And also being running a gym myself, and all the problems that people were having trying to run gyms in that time. So it was just a lot of stress, and I felt like I was training for the fight, but my mindset wasn't there. I felt like that was not me mentally strong like I usually am. And it took me, when I lost that, I had a long layoff as well. And, he caught me out good. No one's ever knocked me out. He did it well. But I do believe that, I don't believe he's the better fighter overall. I believe he was better than me on that night. And I feel like I wish I could show that again, but the only way to get a rematch with him would be in the UFC at the moment. So hence again, and just another reason why I should be there. You're seeing what I just did to Sam there and all the other guys that I've been fighting before then. I just need my opportunity now, and I feel like I'm in the right place to do it. I've got the best training partners. My training's really good now, and I just need that shot.
Yeah. So since that knockout, you've gone on a 5-fight win streak. How does going from the lowest of lows, being knocked out, to winning the title? What was the difference in emotions after the fight?
That's what it was. If you looked at that emotion that I had at the end of the fight, it was strange. It wasn't. You didn't see me go crazy. I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
It was just like it was something that it was like proving to myself. I said I could do it, and I was just saying there, I was actually close to retiring after that fight against Hadley. I was like, maybe because I was getting injuries and all that. I was just saying all the stress that I had.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe I don't have the capacity to train how I used to do when I was young. And I was really going to quit. And then I was thinking maybe I should be a full-time coach and really help these guys out, focus on them now. But then my coaches, my brother Sham and Jordan, I had a good talk with those guys. And they were like, no, you can still do it. They were saying that I was winning that fight before I got caught. Everybody gets caught. Anybody can get caught. And they just gave me that belief that I needed. And then I kind of had that mindset change, and I started to talk with them. I thought, that's true. We evaluated, we assessed the entire camp, exactly what happened, what went good, what didn't. And then I said to myself, I was like, I'm never ever going to train complacent ever again. Every single session that I train in, I will train with a strong mindset. I'll be planned, I'll be organized. And then obviously there was, with the COVID time, I took about a year where I didn't fight, and I just built myself. I thought I'm going to recover all my injuries. I spent a lot of time. I started working closely with Terence Boston, who's like a elite level strength and conditioning coach and a wrestler, and he really helped me improve my game. I thought, right, I'm going to start working with this guy. I couldn't believe the S&C that he got me doing and how much stronger I felt. Things that I didn't think, I was breaking plateaus that I didn't think I could. And I thought, actually, I've still got it. I started feeling young again once I started doing it. I was like, I'm not old anymore. I'm not that old. And then I started realizing how much I was improving. And I realized 90% of it was in my head. And as soon as I kind of overcame that in my head, I couldn't believe what I was able to do. Back in the training sessions, I was trying to perform really well. Every day I'm improving. And all the guys are seeing it, and I thought, I've still got it. And that's when, and then I fought again, which was in that following September. Yeah. And then you've seen all the performances since then.
Yeah, incredible.
So I've got to give her some credit. You can imagine it's hard, right? And for her to believe in me after coming off that loss and all that sacrifice I did in that camp. I hardly spent time with my son who was just born. She was having to do all the night shifts and things like that. And then for her to after that loss, for me to say, look, I need to step it up even more. I need even more time to my training. I need to spend more money on the training. I need to be able to travel and things. And for her to believe that I can still do that and then come back, not everybody has that kind of level of support. So she's helped me out a lot. I know she's in the back seat a little bit. You don't see it, but at home she looks after him. Looks after my little one a lot. She makes me a lot of my food and things. She just has everything ready for us. Just the small things that people don't understand, and which makes a huge difference. And just having that level of support where I'm out all the time training or teaching and not spending as much time at home, missing loads of celebrations, and that was 5 fights. That was nearly a year and a half straight of that, and she dealt with it well. And I've seen a lot of other guys that can't that don't get that type of what's the word, leniency, I should say. But yeah, I'm pretty blessed with the people I've got.
Yeah. One thing I do want to know is, where did the Superman nickname come from? Where's that originated?
That came, when I was a kid, I used to love Superman. That was my little childhood superhero. My mum would tell me when I was even younger than I can even remember. I don't have little vague memories. I would tie a red towel or a cloth or something around my neck, and I'd be running around like Superman. And I used to just love Superman when I was young. And then as I got older, obviously I started fighting and things. And it was just a moment where people were like giving daft nicknames to each other in the gym. And then I was like, I'm going to be Superman. I always fight the bigger guys, all the tougher guys. And I'm always like, overcoming the odds. Because when I was like, as an amateur, when I first started training, there was no like my weight division. I was 61 kilos or something. I was 60, and then everybody was like 65. That was like the smallest weight you can get. So I was always fighting bigger guys, and I want to be Superman. And then they had this thing. They were like, you can't just have a name like Superman. You got to earn that type of name. And then it was just, I think it was when I fought Brent Crowley as an amateur. He was from the Dan Hardy's team, the Rough House, and he was like one of the prospects, and I was just totally unknown then. And then and I took that fight, and people were saying I'm a bit crazy doing it. And my team basically said, if you win this fight, you can have that name, Superman. If you can overcome the odds this time, you can have it. So you can tell what happened then. And I was like, I'm claiming that name. So that's how I kind of established that. I'm claiming that name. And it was just a bit fun. Yeah, I love the superhero themes. I think it's great.
So there's quite a big rise of UK MMA at the moment. You're obviously part of that charge. How do you feel about the current like increasing like popularity of MMA in the UK?
I think it's great. I think it's always been since I was young. It was the fastest growing sport, and it's just continued to grow. I love seeing it growing. Something disagree with some of the ways. Obviously now it's become a bit over there, the whole prize fighting thing. But I get it, and it's a part of the game. It needs to be done. So I think it's great. I think the more and more kids that are doing this sport, I think there's a lot more benefit to this sport than just the fighting.
Yeah. Oh, you've muted. You've gone mute. I think you've muted yourself. I didn't hear.
Oh,
I didn't hear like most of that. You've muted yourself back.
I think someone just. I think I had like a call or something there.
Oh right.
Sorry there about that. But yeah, I was just saying it's just great seeing the sport growing. And I just think, like I was saying, the sport helps a lot of people from all type of backgrounds. People that have a lot of trouble in their life, kids especially, that would probably get into a lot of other trouble. And I think just like boxing helps a lot of people, I think MMA is becoming that as well. It's just another form of like martial art, just like boxing and every other thing that helps people.
Yeah. So going back to the UFC, if you don't get the UFC call up, who's next in Cage Warriors for you?
You tell me. I think I've proved myself. I think it's just going to be a matter of just defending it, just because I have to, and just fighting because I enjoy it. I think in terms of stepping up competition, I feel like it has to be the UFC. It's one of those things. I hope I get a shot in the UFC. It's one of those. I'll end up if I keep fighting in Cage Warriors. It's great. It's a fantastic promotion. But I just feel like the opponents, it'll just be one of those things where eventually, you'll slip up or something like that. But I've been at the top of this game for a while now, and everybody's coming for me now. I think they see me as if they beat me, they can get to the UFC. But I just hope that I can get to the UFC and have my opportunity. I feel like I wouldn't say I'm old yet, but I feel I'm not getting any younger now, and I feel like now is the time. I think I still feel like I've got 5-6 years left in me, and I haven't took that much damage in a lot of my fights. So I just feel like this is the right time to do it. I think if I'm going to do it, this is me at my prime. I feel if I go in there, I can really, I can make a lot happen in a short amount of time. I don't cut too much weight, so I can fight quite frequently as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That's all I've got for you today. I just wanted to let you know, ask you if you had any shout outs, like social media, sponsors you wanted to shout out at the end.
Yeah, 100%. I was just, I think first shout out just to my sponsors. I've got Aruvi Restaurant in Spennymoor. I've got Fika Consultant. There's Supreme Warrior, N&R Joinery, Fullwell Properties. These guys, they help pay for a lot of my training. That I took a long time off in my last camp, and they help pay for a lot of the costs that I needed. And also just my team at Ace MMA and all the guys that train there. My main coaches, Shaj Haque, my brother, and Jordan Cooper, phenomenal jiu-jitsu coach. And also Terence Boston, who I was just talking about earlier, S&C, he's helped me loads. He's helped me transform myself in ways I didn't think possible. So all these guys, and also the teams that I train at, I cross train at TFT Northeast Jiu-Jitsu as well. and these guys have been helping me out. So I think everybody deserves, I always say this, the sport, it's an individual sport when you're in there, but really it's a team sport when you're out. When you're actually preparing, and I feel I've got fantastic guys around me to help me do what I need to do.
Yeah, thank you, Shaj. It's been an absolute honour.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.